On this episode of Survive and Thrive 8791, I welcome Dr. Roopa Shah to the Buck and Honey's remote studios. Dr. Shah, a respected family physician who has spent nearly 25 years caring for patients in the Madison area. From balancing the demands of medicine and motherhood to overcoming anxiety and finding strength through fitness, Dr. Shah shares how passion, perseverance, and purpose have guided her journey, both in the clinic and on the mountaintop. This will be a good one. Here we go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. What is up wherever you are or whatever you are doing? I hope you're having a great day. Welcome to another episode of Survive and Thrive 8791. I'm your host, Coach Decora. We are in the Buck and Honey's remote studios on the east side of our great capital city of Madison, Wisconsin. You can listen to the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, and YouTube at Survive and Thrive 8791. You can follow the podcast and get access to previous episodes on Facebook at Survive and Thrive 8791. The podcast. Don't forget to hit that follow or subscribe button wherever you listen to the show. Leave me a comment if you liked what you heard, if there's a topic or you know a guest who would love to share their story. Email me at tdecora@gmail.com. Glad you could join us. Our mission is to share stories and conversations that make you cry, laugh, and think, stimulating emotions, creating laughter, and inspiring the mind. A new episode will air on Monday and Thursday morning featuring a wide range of guests. The podcast will touch on many subjects such as, but not limited to, grief, loss of a loved one, recovery, professional setback, mental illness, success despite challenges, etc. Our guests will share how they learn to survive and thrive. This is our guest and episode intro. According to the internet, and the internet is always right, correct, Dr. Shah?
Yeah.
Yes. In my house, I don't need the internet. I don't need Google. I don't need Alexa. I've got my wife, and she's always right.
That's about right.
That's about right. That's a good politically correct answer. According to an artificial intelligence overview, while there's no exact number for all U.S. women, surveys indicate a majority struggle to prioritize their own health due to caring for others. Multiple studies show that 63 to 80% of women prioritize family health over their own, and a significant portion delays or skips their own medical appointments because they are too busy. For example, one survey found that 78% of mothers and 64% of single mothers put their household's health above their own. Today's guest experienced some of that in her own life and helps other women now who are experiencing that as well. Today, I welcome Dr. Roopa Shah to the Buck and Honey's remote studios. Dr. Shah grew up in Detroit, Michigan, where her parents immigrated from India in the 1970s. She would graduate from Farmington High School in Farmington Hills, Michigan, and is a proud Falcon. After high school, she would take her talents to Michigan State University, where she would earn her undergraduate degree in zoology and her medical degree as well. Dr. Shah would start her medical career with her residency in St. Paul, Minnesota. And for really all of her career, she has been right here in Madison, Wisconsin with SSM Health. And today I'm so glad you could join us. Dr. Roopa Shah, what is up?
Thanks for having me, Tim.
Yeah,
this is awesome.
This is kind of awesome. It was interesting to hear you say that you really haven't done podcasts despite the fact that you're on Channel 3, News 3, some mornings doing a little special thing.
Yeah, I do the Weekend Wellness on Channel 3 every Sunday, and I've done iHeartRadio, but this is my first podcast.
Well, I am so happy to be the host of your first podcast. So that's pretty cool. What was your summer like? We're filming now. It's the fall of 2025. What was your summer like?
My summer was incredible. I had a great summer. So I do these solo hiking trips every summer and pick a new challenge. So this summer I did the Alta Via 1 in the Italian Dolomites, and it was spectacular.
Italian Dolomites.
Yeah.
So Italian meaning Italy.
Mm-hmm.
And care to share what that was like?
Yeah, so it was, it was 10 days of hiking. So every morning you get up and we hiked like 7 to 9 miles a day, up steep ascents and down, deep descents. And I went with a group, so I joined a group once I got there.
Yeah. You and some other people.
Yep. I just joined a bunch of strangers, and we all hiked together for about 10 days in the mountains of the Dolomites, and the views were spectacular, and it was really hard hiking with some of the altitude there too.
Do you share any of those photos anywhere, Instagram or?
I do.
You do?
I do share them on my, I have 2 different Instagrams. So I have a Roopa Shah photography where I share some of the photographs I've taken, and then the wellness with Dr. Shah too.
Okay, so those of you that are listening right now, if you're driving in a car, keep your hands at 10 and 2. But as soon as you get a chance to hop on those Instagram pages, because it sounds like we're going to see some awesome photos.
Yeah, they were beautiful mountains. It was kind of on my bucket list, and so I finally did it.
So I had my 2 sons at separate times lived in Colorado, in Denver, and there was always the talk of the 14s, which is the mountains that are 14,000 feet. What were we talking about in the Italian Dolomites?
There's nothing, I don't believe we did anything. I think the highest we might have gotten was 12,000.
Okay.
So they don't have any, I don't think that high, but we did some intense sort of hiking up very steep ascents. That's what makes it difficult. It's like a rocky terrain, and it's long days of hiking.
As you're talking, my next question is, do you ever have any thoughts of, I'm just going to go shoot for it, Everest?
Not Everest, but I have done Annapurna Base Camp, and I would love to do Kilimanjaro in Tanzania. So that's on the list too.
It's hard to believe that when you say you were at 12,000 feet and then you got Colorado that has the 14,000 feet. Everest is double that, which is incredible.
It's mind-blowing. The Himalayas are just, mind-blowing.
Yeah, that is on my bucket list to not climb Everest, but maybe to walk. There's a long trail, and then you get to one of the base camps.
Yeah.
And I've read a couple of books listened to some audiobooks, and they had that on there. So
that scenery in Nepal is gorgeous.
Yes.
There's nothing like it.
What do you do to stay busy outside of your work schedule?
Well, I have a lot of hobbies. The big hobby this year was I finally got a road bike. So
No way, something physically demanding as well?
Always my go-to. So my husband picked out a really nice road bike for me from Trek, and I just got on it and we started biking, and it's been great. I love it. I didn't realize how much I would love it.
I hope I don't offend you when I ask this question, but is it an e-bike? No. Tim, no, absolutely not.
No, he tried to convince me to get an e-bike, and I said, I want a real road bike. So,
because of you being physically active, and that might offend some people, but we got road bikes 2 years ago now, I believe, and they are amazing. We do not do as much biking as we should, but maybe at some point when or if the hips and the knees go,
get on it.
Get on an e-bike.
Yeah.
All right, before we get to your story, I need to talk about our sponsor. Our sponsor, Buck and Honey's Restaurants, are a place that people can escape to. For me, it's a great escape from cooking dinner. Do you cook dinner?
I do.
You do. Do you have a genre, style, or cuisine?
I probably would say mostly Indian food, because that's what I grew up with, and I want to continue those traditions. So
pass those down.
So a lot of Indian cooking, especially when winter rolls around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you have some extra food laying around someday and you're wondering, what should we do with this? Well, that Coach Decorah might want some of this. I would love to try some Indian food. I have had Indian food before, but from scratch, maybe not. Restaurants, yes, but yeah. So if you want to get rid of some food.
Sure.
With their great food and drink menu, 5-star customer service, and welcoming and vibrant atmosphere, people keep coming back. With locations in Sun Prairie, Monona, Waunakee, and Mount Horeb, most communities in Dane County, which encompasses the Madison metropolitan area, can get to a Buck and Honey's within 10 to 15 minutes. And to do a little drum roll here. Got a very acoustically sound table. Have you been to Buck and Honey's?
I have.
You have.
Yeah, to the one in Wanakee.
To the one and the only Wanakee in the world. Yes.
Yeah, it was good.
And I would recommend, because you couldn't quite remember what you had, I would recommend the pizza next time. I've been eating that since 1985.
Okay, good to know.
It's good stuff. On the podcast, our guests will follow the format for sharing their story like this. In segment 1, we talk about what was it like, Dr. Shah's history, what happened to get Dr. Shah on the podcast. And in segment 2, we continue to talk about what happened and what it's like now. And we discuss Dr. Shah's 5 suggestions for thriving. So what was it like before and what happened? You grew up in Farmington Hills, Michigan. What was life like growing up in and around the Motor City?
It was, it was interesting.
It was interesting.
Yeah. No, it was a good upbringing. It was pretty suburban, but I grew up on 8 Mile, so I like to joke that,
you did?
Yeah. But 8 Mile goes all the way from downtown Detroit out into suburbia. So I love Detroit,
Do you know Eminem?
I don't know Eminem, but I joke that I can, yeah.
Can you rap like Eminem?
Yeah, not really. But it was a good upbringing. It's a very diverse area, in Detroit. So I think that was one of the things I really just took for granted, that, there was lots of diversity in Detroit, lots of great food, and a big Middle Eastern population and big Indian population and Asian, so it was just, and it's a big city, so it was fun.
Tell us about your family growing up. Mom and dad, interested in hearing they immigrated and from India, and a brother.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
So my mom was a laboratory technician, and my dad worked for Ford Motor Company.
No way.
As an engineer.
Really?
Yep. So we are a Ford family, or we used to be, and so we would always, get all the new Fords that he would get to bring them home. And I remember he'd bring a Mustang home that we could keep for a weekend and try and drive it, like a stick shift. And so cars were a big thing, of course, in our house. And then I had a younger brother, and he and I fought like any siblings would, and
Really?
And now we get along great. Yeah.
Did you wrestle him to the ground? And
I actually did.
You did?
I did actually wrestle him because I was 5 years older than him. And
he took a big beating from his older sister.
He really did. And then I would try and make up for it by letting him win at Connect 4.
Oh, I love that game, by the way, Connect 4.
Yeah.
You have a family of your own, and that's going to be part of your kind of what got you on the podcast. Tell us about your husband, 2 kids, and a dog or 2.
Yeah, one dog. So my husband and I have known each other since we were 16. We grew up in Detroit together. We both went to Michigan State. He is now a practice...
High school sweetheart?
Not high school sweetheart.
Okay.
No, actually went to rival high schools.
Ooh.
And then he would actually borrow my notes in college. And because I was a studious one, and then he would do better on the tests than I would when we were at Michigan State.
A little stinker.
Yep. Which, got him into law school eventually. And, so then we sort of connected in medical school. When I was in medical school, he was in law school, and that's kind of, but we've known each other essentially our whole lives. And I have 2 kids. I have a 21-year-old daughter and a 23-year-old son who's still here as a Badger. So he's starting his PhD program here at UW.
When did you finally start talking to him after you verbally committed to Wisconsin? You're Michigan State Spartan, your husband. And then was there a time where you stopped talking to him for a while?
No.
That's a joke.
Yeah, I know.
And a dog.
Oh, yes, my sweet Taji. He's going to be 16 this February.
Ooh,
so
he's up there.
He's up there, but he is going strong.
So 16, let's do the 112 years old?
He really, I guess that's about right.
Really? Well, cheers to another 16 years for him.
We'll see.
You graduated from Farmington High School in Farmington Hills, Michigan, and you're a proud Falcon. What were some of your favorite memories from high school? I mean, there was a couple that you sent me, and I thought, oh, that's so cool. Go ahead.
Well, I think, the favorite memories were really just hanging out with friends, right? Like having a good group of friends. I think we did a lot of dance parties. I remember the 80s dance parties we would do in people's basements. So that used to be a thing.
That's what I was going to bring up.
Oh, you were? Yeah. That was actually, it was a highlight. So we had a big Indian community growing up in Detroit, which, again, we took for granted that, that was just something that was very, I think, Detroit. And we would, on the weekends, we would all get together. We all went to different high schools. We would all get together in somebody's basement and play, New Order and Erasure and Depeche Mode and
The Cure.
And The Cure, yeah.
And then what was there was one other one that you had sent on there.
I don't know.
It was The Cure, and there was one other one. And I'm like, I haven't heard those in a long, might have been New Order. I think
New Order.
Yeah.
That was the big one. We were all into New Order and Erasure, and then we would just dance until like midnight, 1, and
sweat dripping off of you.
But it was all like good, wholesome fun.
Yeah.
It wasn't alcohol and drinking, and it was just good old fashioned fun getting together with friends on the weekends, and then just music, dancing, and laughing.
And do you still hang out? Do you still communicate? Do you still see some of those friends?
I do. Actually just went back and met up with one of my girlfriends that I hadn't seen for a really long time. And it was just like we reconnected like no time had passed. And we laughed about all those times with those dance parties.
And now you don't have to drop a quarter in a jukebox anywhere. You can just, hey, I got this, listen to this song on your phone. Yeah, right there.
And to this day, when those songs come on the radio, it just takes you right back to high school days.
That's what I was thinking about as well. Mm-hmm. After high school, you would take your talents to Michigan State University. Did you have any other suitors for your talents, or was that where you were going to go always?
Well, there was that other school in Michigan.
Ann Arbor.
I won't say it. Yeah. But after a lot of back and forth, I decided that Michigan State and the Lyman Briggs pre-med program was where I belonged. And that's where I spent my time within the 4 years at Michigan State. And it was amazing. It was a very tight-knit community of pre-med students. We all lived in Holmes Hall. We took classes there. I became a TA there. It was an amazing program that still exists, geared all towards a lot of pre-med students. And it was just, I'm so glad that I chose that over the other school.
You would earn a degree in zoology. And I wrote a little note to myself here that speaks of veterinarian. However, you would earn your medical degree from Michigan State University as well. Is that how things went?
Well, things actually went that I started as an engineer because I was going to be an engineer like my dad. But turns out there's a lot of difficult math you have to take as an engineer and computer programming classes I had to take. And I realized that it wasn't for me. And what I really was drawn to was something working with people. And so I started taking a few more classes. And when I saw the classes I had chosen, it actually fit the criteria for a zoology major, which sounds weird, but it was classes like medical genetics, physiology. And then my advisor at the time said, if all these classes that you've chosen, really you're a few credits away from getting a zoology major. So I said, I'll do that.
And I can get done earlier?
Yeah, I can get done on time.
Or on time?
Yeah, on time, yeah. Yep.
You would start your professional career with your internship, then residency in St. Paul, Minnesota, and wind up in Madison, where you've been for, we were thinking, like close to 24 years. What have been some of your favorite memories kind of in that early part of your career?
The early part of my career, wow. I think it was just starting to make those relationships with my patients, right, who I still see to this day. And when I first started, I also did OB care, so I delivered babies. And so for me, some of the most fun appointments now are seeing the babies that I delivered, who are now, teenagers and older.
Have you delivered any babies that are having babies of their own yet?
Yes, I actually have.
Oh, really?
Yep.
That's kind of like me when I'm teaching. Some of the kids I taught in the late 90s, early 2000s are I've taught their kids, and then their kids are having kids. It's crazy how that thing all comes full circle. Yeah. Because our listeners want to hear the rest of your story and what brought you to the podcast, I need to talk about our sponsor one more time. Buck and Honey's has been with the Survive and Thrive 8791 crew since the beginning, with 4 locations in the Madison area. One is always near. People ask why Buck and Honey's. Owner Tom Anderson places a high priority on the mental health of his employees. He has a mental health professional available for them should they need support. I don't know how many businesses go above and beyond their EAP, Employee Assistance Program, but Buck and Honey's does. Dr. Shah, Dr. Roopa Shah, would earn her medical license and become a doctor. Not exactly the easiest career to embark on. She would eventually marry and start her own family, all while juggling her busy work schedule. You'll hear how she managed and how she uses her experiences to help other women. Please stay tuned. Don't change that channel. You're not going to want to miss segment 2 of Survive and Thrive 8791. We will be back.
If you, a loved one, or someone you know is experiencing a physical, mental, or emotional crisis, there is help and resources out there. Contact NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness Helpline, at 1-800-950-6264. This is a free service providing information, resource referrals, and support to people living with a mental illness, their family, providers, and the public. United Way 211 is available 24/7, 365 and offers free confidential assistance. They connect people with the local programs and services that can help. Dial 211. Emergency Crisis Services, dial 911. The Suicide Prevention Lifeline, dial 988. To connect via web, chat, visit suicidepreventionlifeline.org. Along with those numbers, there is help. You just need to say 3 words. I need help. Now, back to the show.
We are back. Welcome back to segment 2 of Survive and Thrive 8791. I'm your host, Coach Tim Decora. We are in the Buck and Honey's remote studios on the east side of our great capital city of Madison, Wisconsin. The podcast is where we feature guests who share their story in hopes of helping others who may be struggling with what life throws at them. Today, I'm glad to be joined in the Buck and Honey's remote studios by Dr. Roopa Shah. She's here to share her story as a busy wife, mother, and doctor, and what it's like to get through that time in her life. You complete your residency in Minnesota and start working immediately at SSM Health right here in Madison, Wisconsin, which is, again, that being a doctor is demanding and rewarding. You decide to start your family and have 2 children, almost not quite immediately, but pretty darn close, which is also demanding and rewarding. How did you do it?
I have no idea how I did it. You just, I think it's ingrained in us, right? When we start that pre-med kind of medical school track, you just do the next thing and you just power through.
I know I've seen some people that they did a special on CBS News this morning or the weekend, and there were several women professionals, a couple of doctors in there sprinkled in, that said they're waiting until their mid-30s to have children, and that's not exactly what you did. How did you kind of sprinkle in, or how did you get some help balancing all those plates, spinning plates?
Yeah, we had nannies, I mean, that's really key. It does take a village is really what it comes down to. And because our parents didn't live, around us, we really had to rely on the help of others. But we fortunately found wonderful nannies as we were trying to juggle. I was trying to juggle like a full-time clinical practice and then having to deliver babies. I remember one time my nanny, meeting me in a parking lot near St. Mary's Hospital so I could pass off my son.
Handing off the baton.
Yeah, literally handing off this child so I could go deliver a baby. So it was a tough, difficult time, but I also felt like my career was super important and I had put in all this time and effort into my education and my training, and I wanted to use it, and I was excited to embark on this career. But at the same time, I knew I wanted to be a younger mom and not wait until my mid-30s to have my kids, because I knew that, once I was around 50, I wanted to kind of reclaim my own life and enjoy, that other side after launching the
Climbing
kids.
mountains, riding bikes,
Exactly.
swimming with sharks.
Absolutely. And so I feel like I planned it. It turned out the way I wanted it to, but it was not easy.
Since the show has a mental health component to it, were you experiencing any of the two big ones, anxiety or depression?
I don't think I was having depression. Looking back, again, as physicians, we tend to just stuff down our emotions and do the thing that we are trained to do as a professional, right? And no matter what is going on at home, you come to work, you always come to work and you do your best and you put this facade and face on that you are just ready to help that person in front of you. But I think, yes, there was some probably anxiety. I think I've always, and I think a lot of us that go into the medical profession have some degree of a little bit of perfectionism and OCD and anxiety. It's, I think, what makes us successful because we want to do a good job. We're striving to always do our best no matter what. So we channel it in these positive ways. However, once I got into this demanding job, taking call, delivering babies, having my own two kids, things really, got difficult. And I think I was experiencing symptoms of anxiety. I was very irritable. And, looking back now, I was like, yeah, that was, symptoms of the anxiety. I felt irritable. I would get angry easily, with the kids, with my husband. I was short-tempered. And I didn't recognize those symptoms then. I just thought, it's just life is hard. And so this is how people behave. But I don't have any anxiety or mental, I never put that label on it. But yes, looking back, I think I would say I suffered from mild anxiety and could have done things a little different.
It's certainly the different temperament that you show on your little segments on Channel 3 in the morning, where I see you and you're just pleasant and nice and talking in a calm voice. And it's hard to maybe fathom that it wasn't always like that. How were you coping back then, when, okay, I'm a little irritated right now. I need to blank.
Yeah, I think at some point I realized that I was not living the life the way I had envisioned it. And again, I was noticing that I wasn't always happy. I was, like I said, I was mostly irritable or on edge. I could do the things, go through the motions, go to work, come home, make dinner, take care of the kids, and all of that. But something was missing. And I realized I just wasn't taking care of myself. I was losing myself in my career, in motherhood, in my marriage. And I was just losing the sense of like, who am I and what is it that I want? And if I continue on this path for the next 10 or 15 years, who am I going to end up being? And I think there was a few kind of critical moments, and I just thought, gosh, I've got to change this. This isn't the trajectory that I want to stay on. My mental health is suffering. And if it does, I'm not going to be able to be the best mother, number one, that I want to be. And number two, I'm not going to be able to be the best physician that I want to be or the best wife that I want to be. And those were kind of the three things, maybe not necessarily in that order, but I just realized I have to put myself first.
Who did you lean on for support? And I know what you sent me, and I think this is kind of unique, and some people need to hear this and maybe can thrive, but go ahead and talk about who did you lean on for support?
Yeah, so of course, I had my family, right? I had my mom, but those are phone calls that you make to somebody, right? Like once a week, and that person can't be with you. I had some good friends, but again, like, who do you really confide in? And your friend doesn't want to be your therapist. And then of course, my friends would say, oh, you should talk to somebody. And I thought, well, here I'm busy. And I realized that, like, yes, all of this exists, but it's me. I have to figure this out. I have to do some soul searching, and I have to help myself, because I'm role modeling for my kids what a healthy lifestyle, a healthy balance in all things looks like. And I really just turned inward and thought, okay, it's time. I can't rely. I've always been very fiercely independent, and I was losing that sense of like myself and my purpose. And I just said, you know what, I gotta just, I'm nearly 30 years old. I need to figure this out. And I just really turned inwards, did a lot of soul searching, and just said, I need to figure this out for myself and do what I need to do.
That's good stuff, because some people do the soul searching, but it sounds like you went maybe a little bit deeper, another level. Some people do the soul searching and climb out and go and talk to a therapist, but you did a lot of that internal work and you came out and you've thrived. When did you feel like you made it through the hardest part of being a wife, mother, and being a doctor?
Well, that's a tough one. I mean, because I don't know if there was any one particular moment. Of course, as the kids got, a little bit older, more independent, that
Fiercely
helped.
independent.
Yeah. Yeah, they learned that from somewhere. Also, there was one thing that happened to me that actually was sort of serendipitous was as I was going through this tough time, I met made a few friends in town. Again, I didn't have a lot of time for even friends. And we met up with a personal trainer that trained, I think it was like 5 of us, and we would train at Supreme Health Club over on Odana. And that, I think, was a pivotal moment in my journey because I used to swim varsity swimming when I was in high school, and I, again, had gotten away from exercise and fitness a little bit. I did a lot of that in medical school, like running and stuff. But when we got back into the gym, that was life-changing. And getting in the gym, being with friends, having a trainer that made us stronger and helped us kind of reclaim that. For me, it was like the switch went on and I was like, this is what I needed. To feel physically stronger in the gym, knowing that I could do hard stuff like that gave me so much confidence, so much energy, and really started spilling over into the rest of my life and my career and with my kids and with my husband. And it just really gave me a lot of more confidence, and it just gave me the strength and the energy. We say how exercise makes us feel better, but strength training gave me not just mental strength, but just physical. That physical strength, I think, translated into more mental strength and gave me a lot of clarity in my life.
You start to feel better. You start to maybe even look better, and just has a lot of things that can maybe burn some of those things that were bothering you kind of away. And you certainly know the background on all of those things as well. Let's look back on your amazing career. And you mentioned earlier being in the delivery room, helping mothers bring in their newborns. What has been filling your cup? What has been your greatest professional achievements most recently?
Recently, I think I look back at, now remember, I've been in practice 23, almost 24 years. So for me, it's those relationships. Right now I see people and they're like, I've known you, back like 2 decades ago, and I've taken care of these people and I've seen them, some of them, like I said, I've birthed their babies for them, right? And their babies are having babies. And so that long-term relationship to me is so special because that's really what I envisioned when I went into family medicine. I wanted that longevity with patients, to know everything about them, their families, their friends, their, not just their medical history, but just all the things that they've been through in their lives so that I could treat them in the best way possible, right? Because I know the nuances of their life. And so having now achieved that with a huge subset of my patients makes me feel really good about the practice I've built.
Yeah, and the other thing I wanted to mention, and I don't know if we did this earlier or not, but where I came across you was on your little segment on Channel 3, WISC TV 3, our CBS affiliate here in Madison, Wisconsin. How has that helped your work that you're doing now, or how has that expanded some of the things you're doing?
My focus had always been about preventative health and wellness and educating people. And that platform has just been such a joy. And I'm so grateful to Channel 3 for asking me, on to do those segments because I love that. It's educating people on a bigger platform and just talking about, breast cancer prevention or colon cancer prevention, but also then topics that are trending on social media, which I love too, is keeping up on the latest and the greatest. So that sort of education and just educating people on wellness and longevity and different topics, things to think about in their lives as they think about their health, things they might want to avoid that may not be, verified and, evidence-based. And so just debunking myths like that, I think that's all part of the education of the public. And that's what I stand for. That's what I love is anything that has to do with health and wellness.
That's what you are all about. Awesome.
Yeah.
This is where the subscribers, followers, and listeners take out the notebooks, pens, and pencils and jot some things down. Here are Dr. Roopa Shah's 5 suggestions that have allowed her to survive and thrive through the life of a doctor and wife and mother and daughter and all of those good things. Here's what you shared, and I'm going to toss these in underhand softball style. And I know you said you were a swimmer. Have you hit a softball before?
No, I don't have the greatest hand-eye coordination.
Okay, well, you're going to go ahead and take an imaginary swing, and I'm going to give you 60 seconds on each of these 5 things that you sent to me. And I'll go ahead and read these just to refresh your memory, and then you just talk as long as you want, but around 60 seconds. And here's what you shared. Number 1, never stop pushing yourself physically or mentally and in your career. Keep trying new things to keep your brain active. Do new activities, new hobbies, etc. Go ahead and hit that.
You should always be challenging yourself. That's really how we grow as an individual and as a person. And I feel like that is one of the biggest things we see in longevity lifestyles as well, is the people that are constantly challenging themselves, stretching their brains in different ways, trying new things, whether it's a new language, learning an instrument, a new hobby. These are really important, not just for enjoying life and, discovering new things, but they really can help you live. So I've really made that a part of my life as well, is setting myself up for different challenges that I may or may not be able to reach, but something to reach for and strive for, and always just challenging myself and having that growth mindset. It's really important as we want to age better.
Great advice. Number 2, have gratitude for all the good in your life. It's natural to focus on the negative, but we have to remind ourselves of all the good. Doing this daily can be powerful. Avoid social media comparisons. Go ahead and hit that.
Gratitude is something that's been, we've been talking a lot about that lately. We hear, like, why is that so important? Well, we again know that when we looked at some of the parts of the world where people live the longest, we call those blue zone areas, right? And we noticed that these folks, they were happy. They just lived happy lifestyles. And one key component of that is having gratitude in your daily life. And what I mean by, like, don't get caught up in the social media is, like, comparison truly is the thief of joy. So if you constantly compare yourself to somebody who has more, is doing more, and a lot of that is not even reality, right? But we all get caught up in that, and we can start feeling bad about ourselves. So flip that script. Think about the things in your life that you're doing that bring you joy, your family, your hobbies, your spouse, your partner, your children, and really focus in on the positive, and then build on that and look at the good things in your life and stop focusing on the negative, and that you will start bringing yourself up and out of that negativity and into a more positive energy and surrounding yourself with gratitude. And that, again, has been shown to be a very powerful predictor of people that live longer and live happier lives.
Gratitude is the attitude. I love it. Number 3, be authentic, be yourself, stand up for yourself always, and live bold. Go ahead and hit that.
This is something I would tell my younger self. Sometimes people say, what would you tell your younger self? And I would tell myself, live more authentically and don't be afraid to be who you are. And that's so hard when you're in your 20s, even your 30s, right? You're still trying to discover who you are, form your own identity. You're trying to come into your own. You're starting out in a career. There's still a sense of imposter syndrome. And it's a process, right? But if I could tell myself sooner is just be more authentic and just be who you are and don't be afraid to portray that to the outside world. When you start doing that, that confidence, it really just, it builds on itself and you're just able to achieve so much more in your life without worrying about what other people think of you. And I did this too, just worried about what my colleagues would think if I said X, Y, or Z, or if I acted X, Y, or Z, or if I spoke my true mind or gave my opinions on things. And I look back and I wish I just had a little bit more confidence and less fear overall in life to really just speak up, and which has come now, right, with more experience and with age. And I'm just glad it did because I like who I am now at the age of 50 plus than when I started out my career in my late 20s. So it's a process. I think there's seasons to every, to life, right? There's all these different seasons we have to go through. And I think you come out on the other side just being stronger for all the things we go through. So live authentically. Try and be the best version of you is what I would tell people.
Good stuff. Number 4, surround yourself with people that lift you up and push you to be better, that inspire you to be better. Leave behind those that don't or can't do this. Go ahead and hit that.
Again, it just goes to that, you will become those 5 people, or maybe it's 6 people that you surround yourself with. It's so true. When you start surrounding yourself with high performers, people with positive energy, people who are authentic, who are trustworthy, you will become like those people. I've always tried to surround myself with good people, but even more so as I've gone through my career, I've really tried to surround myself with other women who lift me up and who really I look up to and kind of want to aspire to, who just have that good energy about them and that they're not all about themselves. They're willing to take you with them, right? They're willing to also give suggestions and here's how you can be better, do better, how you can challenge yourself, right? They're wanting to take you with them, I guess is the best way to say it. And I think when you have people around you that you're aspiring to be, rather than those people that are just negative. I mean, of course, people are going to have struggles and you're going to want to help people through their tough times. But if that's all you're doing is surrounded by people who are constantly living in chaos and constantly just have a lot of, issues and they're kind of dragging you down almost with them, you don't want to be surrounded by that, whether it's a partner, a spouse, friends. You need to extract yourself, which takes a lot of courage and takes a lot of strength to even do that and pull away from those people. But you have to do that. You have to do that for your mental health sometimes. And you have to do that if you just want to grow as a person, right? You want to grow as a mother, as a career person, as a partner. You have to surround yourself with people that are living that life that you sort of aspire to have. I think that's the best way. And some of that can be done virtually nowadays. I think there's a lot in that positive spin, even on social media, where you can see people that you may want to follow, but follow the right people, right? Follow the people that are inspiring you to lead a better life.
It's hard to do, but when you can do it and then it leads to positivity, absolutely. And lastly, number 5, prioritize yourself always, no matter how hard things get in life. Eat well, sleep well, and exercise. Non-negotiables. Everything else will need to wait until it's life or death. Go ahead and hit that.
I think I see so many people who let their health suffer, right? Because we have all these competing priorities in our life. Of course we do. Our career is important, right? Because money is very important. our children are extremely important, right? When you have a family, we have to prioritize them. Our spouses, our partners, they're super important too, because that's somebody you made a commitment to. But I would say above all else, I think if I wish that women would actually put them as number one, because we really are the core of the family, of the unit. And again, you just can't be your best self in any of those other realms until you feel your absolute best. And the way you're going to feel the absolute best is if you're sleeping well, eating well, and exercising, your fitness. Those to me have always been my non-negotiables. And for a while, I also didn't put myself first. I put the kids first. I have to bathe them. I have to feed them. I have to make dinner. And then finally, I thought to myself, I'm so low in energy. I'm exhausted. I'm getting irritable. I'm not really showing up in the ways in any of the areas of my life that I want to in the best way possible. And it wasn't until I really started prioritizing myself and carving out that time. This is a non-negotiable time. I'm going to the gym, whether it was before work or after work. And again, building that strength, that endurance, that then can carry over into every other aspect of your life. So if there was one advice I would give to women is, even if you have children or a high-power career or, a spouse that needs you, just make sure that you continue to take the best care of your health, because I promise you that someday when that health is gone and you have to focus on your illness, it will take up more time than you will want to. So never, ever take your health for granted, and prioritize that starting now.
Spoken like a doctor and also a person who takes care of themselves. Dr. Roopa Shah. What an episode. I'm so glad you could join the Survive and Thrive 8791 crew today. Your story and how you managed to work through becoming a doctor and raising a family. Your story reminds us all to have coping skills or mental health tools in the toolbox when a person is met with life's challenges. Despite that, you have survived and thrived. Our call to action, Dr. Roopa Shah just shared her story about how she became a doctor and raised a family. She has endured and persevered. Here are Dr. Roopa Shah's 5 suggestions that helped her survive and are continuing to thrive. Here are her 5 suggestions. Number 1, never stop pushing yourself. Number 2, have gratitude for all the good in your life. Number 3, be authentic, be yourself. Number 4, surround yourself with people that lift you up and push you to be better, that inspire you to be better. And number 5, prioritize yourself always, no matter how hard things get. Final thoughts as we close another great episode of Survive and Thrive 8791. Are there any final thoughts, Dr. Roopa Shah?
I just want to thank you, Tim, first of all, for having me on this podcast. This was a great experience. I've really enjoyed it. I've enjoyed getting to meet you and see a bit of your humor. And so I just really want to thank you for having me on. I want to thank my husband, who's always been a great support to me, and someone who actually I do admire and who does push me and pushes me actually to expand my perspective on life, and he lives in the moment, which I love. I also want to thank my kids for just being an absolute joy, making my life as a mother so much easier because they are really, truly great individuals. Also, would love to thank SSM because honestly, without my career there, I don't know where I would be. So thank you to SSM for taking a chance on a young, new doctor and really giving me a very fulfilling career that allowed me to just do so much more with than I ever imagined. And thank you to my parents who have just always been there for me. So, yeah.
Well, it was an honor to have you on the show, and I think it is a testament to the kind of person you are. There are a few people that I've reached out to in the professional world and see on TV and read their books and reached out to you via Instagram initially, and you answered my response, and that's how we got you on the show. And I thought, because most of my subscribers and followers and listeners are a little over 50% of them are women, this is, I think, where you really help our listeners, and they can think about a few things. And then the men in the crowd, a lot of them have wives and spouses and sisters and daughters. I think it's important for them to be able to take something from this episode that you shared and apply that to the important women in their life. So I am forever grateful that you answered the Instagram direct message.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for reaching out. That was actually amazing just to talk with you and tell my story, right? Because in the end, this is why I do what I do. I love being a doctor, but my wellness coaching is really centered around helping women thrive and just really live their most authentic life, whether they're young women going through their careers and marriages and families, or they're women who are aging and dealing with perimenopause and all of that. That's really my area of expertise and what I love to do most. So thank you.
Awesome. On our next episode of Survive and Thrive 8791, we will have another amazing guest in the Buck and Honey's remote studios who will share how they learn to survive and thrive. If you have a story to share or you know someone who does, please reach out to me at tdecora@gmail.com. Until next time, hang in there with whatever you happen to be going through, and with hard work, dedication, and determination, you can survive and thrive. Until next time, take care.